Patrick and I have struggled over the years with security systems on Brick House. So this video will go into a little bit about what we used to do on Brick House for security systems, and then what we've recently done this past year to beef up security. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you like it, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Yeah, tell us below what you use for security on your boat, or if you even worry about it. So as many of you know, Patrick passed away a few months ago from COVID-19, but we were in the midst of making this video before he passed. So you're going to see him in this video, and you're going to hear about a security problem that we had in the Pacific. The world is not becoming a safer place. Yeah, we've beefed up security in the last year on Brick House, and that's not without reason. Hello, my name is Rebecca.
And I'm Patrick on the Sailboat Brick House.
And today we're going to talk about security systems. In 13 years, the boat's never been broken into. But there was one time that they tried.
That was in some islands way out in the South Pacific. It was the capital of this island group. But we had to fly away from this anchorage in the capital and go back to the United States. We unfortunately found out when we arrived there in this island group that 8 other boats had been broken into, and so that meant certainly they would try to break into ours while we were away. So we had to quickly gather up some homebrew security systems, which in the end did work. After 30 days away, we got the phone call that they tried to break in, but our very loud alarm scared them away temporarily because they tried to come back again. But in any case, in 13 years now, we haven't lost anything on the boat because we always lock up at night, we leave lights on and all kinds of things.
And you know, there's a lot of security systems out there on the market, and you don't have to have a security system that's, you know, the Cadillac like ours is. And you can have really simple alarm systems and security systems as well on your boat. Just really recommend that you think about it.
Yeah, some people say, well, if you don't feel safe in an anchorage where you're at, why go there? Well, there's crime everywhere in the world. And just like when you leave your house to go down to the marina to go for a day sail, do you lock the front doors of your house? Well, most people do. That tells me they don't feel safe. Or they lock the car doors when they get to the marina. What does that tell me? You just don't pick up and move to another city because you don't feel safe where you are. Crime happens everywhere in the world, in nice neighborhoods and bad neighborhoods. It's unavoidable. So what is avoidable is taking the precautions.
Yeah, I mean, and do you really know as you go from anchorage to anchorage, whether you're in the United States or whether you're anywhere, sailing anywhere in the world, do you really know if you're in a safe neighborhood? Do you know if there's a problem with break-ins this week in that anchorage? No, you don't. Think about a security system. The world's not getting any safer.
Years ago, we had just dropped anchor in the capital of a coral atoll. We were there to leave our sailboat Brick House for 2 months while we flew back to the US. The problem is, we had just heard that 8 other boats, cruising boats, had recently been broken into. So what to do? We had to set up deterrence. One thing that we do on a daily basis anyway is to leave sandals on the side deck. That always makes it look like somebody's at home. And if some thief decided to take these sandals, they can have them. It's a donation. The other thing is to hang laundry up as though it's drying. The third thing that we did was to leave a bright LED light burning inside the cabin as though somebody's home. It would be burning all 24 hours a day, but those lights use as much energy as probably the ship's cat Lily. Right, Lily? Hey, wake up. The fourth thing that we did was turn on the stereo. Ow. Hey, quit biting my foot. We turned it on to the local station and turned the volume way up so you could hear it well off of the boat. I mean, doesn't everybody turn their stereo off when they leave the boat? So at least it made it sound like somebody was at home. On the stern arch, we have a 360-degree anchor light. And when we left to return to the US, we had removed the cockpit awning so that this light not only spread across the boat, but also into the cockpit along with this photosensitive light. Actually, unfortunately, these aren't available anymore. The company went out of business. Light underneath that shines down into the cockpit. So at night, the boat was well illuminated. We left this anchor light on and the one at the top of the mast. They used such little energy that the solar panels had no problem at all keeping up with the energy demands of these anchor lights and the stereo running 24 hours a day. So when we went away, we took off our heavy locks and put on these little luggage locks. Other boats that were broken into were pry-barred apart. They destroyed the forward hatches, lifting them up so that the dogs were broken. And so we figured if somebody's going to break into this boat, I want to slow them down, but I don't want them tearing the boat apart. So we've just put on these little luggage locks, not only on the main hatch, but on the two cockpit lockers. Fortunately, we never had a problem. They never got that far to start breaking in. They figured that they were going to just lift up the dinghy. These people were experienced. They broken into at least 8 boats. They could lift up the dinghy, and they knew the hatch underneath would be open for ventilation. And that's what stopped them. Whew, that even hurts my ears. But I'm just finishing up the installation of this alarm. I'll mount it up here somehow and put an awning over it to help keep the water off. This is replacing this alarm, which was mounted higher up just below the radar dome. And that alarm saved us. It kept burglars off of our boat. Whoa, whoa! Ah, that Rebecca scared the heck out of me. But this is the material, just some umbrella that I just draped over it. I think, you know, it doesn't look factory finished, and that's for the better. It's nice and camouflaged. It'll help to shed the water away from the horn, even though that horn is supposed to be waterproof. They never last that long. So we're good to go on that one. This is the mousetrap that protected Brickhouse from the biggest rats, the thieves that were trying to break into our boat. You can see here there's an electric line attached to the wood part of the trap, and another connecting line which is soldered to the wire frame. When that trap is tripped, it closes, makes the connection, and sounds off the alarm. We had 3 of these. One was in the forepeak, and the trip line right here was attached to the hatch in case that was opened. We had another one set in the main saloon, and the trip line would go up through the main hatch and attach to the handle of the dinghy, which was turned upside down and stowed there. Then we had this one in the aft just sitting on the companionway steps, and this line went up and attached to a screw in the upper slat. So if somebody pulled it, it would set off the trap, and the loud alarm would go off. The alarm was so loud it woke up the whole anchorage, the waterfront, and another mooring area about a mile north. All of those boats heard it. It went off, the thieves jumped in the water, our cruising friends jumped in their dinghy at 2:30 in the morning, and the guys disappeared. But in any case, our boat was saved. This is our latest burglar alarm. This is a 110 decibel alarm. It's powered by a 9-volt battery that sits in this case here. It's very effective, very loud. This is the trip mechanism. Pull that, it makes the contact of those 2 screws, and it'll scare the heck out of any thief. I'll set this up on the top of the coach roof, hook this in somewhere, put a rag over it. This stretches across to the lifeline or any place else that a thief might go. When he passes through, it sounds such a big alarm, it'll scare the sandals off of him. Too often, when you go to a store to buy some kind of burglar alarm, those things aren't any louder than a frightened canary. These are effective. One problem is soldering these wires onto the top of that screw. It's very difficult. I end up melting half the time the whole clothespin assembly, and I have to start all over again. A better way is to just go ahead and put your screws in, make them just long enough so you can put a nut on the top, put ring terminals on the end of your wires, and you're done. Except for, of course, all of the hot gluing of the rest of the parts. Well, hopefully some of these ideas will help protect your own boat while you're out cruising. If so, please give us a thumbs up and a subscribe. We can arm the system standing right here, or downtown in Cape Town, which is about 20 miles from here. We can do it from America when we fly back. We can arm or disarm. We can watch what's happening on the boat. It's amazing, the technology these days to make your boat and your life a lot safer.
We can be inside the boat, and we can arm the boat just on the outside, so that if somebody steps on the boat while we're sleeping, first we get a nice little quiet alarm, and then we get a blasting alarm that will just knock the socks off whoever gets on the boat. And they don't have to break anything. That was the big thing too for me is, people come on with crowbars trying to break off your hatches and break your windows to get in. I don't want that kind of damage on the boat. I want to know the minute somebody steps on my deck.
So Rebecca's the brains behind all of this. Rebecca's the brains behind all of this. Rebecca's the brains behind all of this. I was just the monkey with the wrench and the screwdriver putting it in. So she's going to do all the orientation on this system. So
yeah.
Let's go take a look.
All right. Oh, but before we go, let's arm it. Okay, we're good to go. Let's go. So the system that we got this year is sort of the Cadillac of all security systems. I did a lot of research and went through a lot of systems, and I really feel like the GOST security system is the one that's got it all. It'd be kind of dumb to show you where all of the components are on my boat. Hello, YouTube lurkers. This is how you can break into Brick House. So I won't show you the exact locations of where I've put things. I'll show you a little bit of the components here and there that could be placed anywhere on the boat. Just to give you an idea, my system is pretty basic compared to what you can have from GOST systems. But I am going to share with you all the benefits of the GOST security system on board our sailboat Brick House. And it's the system to choose if you have the money and you have the need to protect a lot of valuable systems. I mean, one chart plotter stolen off your boat, and that's the price of a security system right there, plus the hassle of not having one mid-ocean, in some little remote island in the middle of nowhere. So the first advantage of the GOST security system is that you can arm it and disarm it remotely. I could arm it and disarm it from the US, from around the corner, from a couple miles, from the other side of the country, from an African safari. Wherever I am, I can always arm and disarm the system remotely. So if somebody calls me and tells me, your boat looks fine, it looks like it's a false alarm, but the alarm won't stop going off, I can just go onto my smartphone and disarm it. In fact, the GOST company, GOST security system company, recently used my boat as a demo, and they turned on my security system from the boat show. They forgot to turn it off. I came back to the boat and set off the system. Thank God I remembered the password to get in and shut it all off. A nice thing about the GOST security system is once the alarms go off for a certain period, first they send something to my cell phone. They can call phone numbers. They can call phone numbers anywhere in the world. I can also change it on a daily basis if I want to call the security at the front desk, to call the yacht club security, to call the police in that town, to call the FBI, whatever I want it to call. I can put in a different number every day if I want to, and it will call those numbers. It doesn't have to be in a cellular area, because if it can't do it by cell, it will do it by satellite. So there's nowhere that this boat can be and be broken into and not be telling somebody about it. What's also nice is there's not just one way to set off the alarm. This boat is rigged from head to toe, bow to stern, top to bottom. Whether it be a opening up a hatch, opening up a window, or motion detection. If it catches somebody moving around the boat, it will go off. And what's really cool is if somebody even just steps on the deck. Just about anywhere on the deck, if they step on the deck, the alarms are going to go off. If you're a smart thief, if you're a professional thief breaking into boats for a living, which in some countries that happens, if they try to disarm the system, if they try to jam the system, if they try to cut wires, any of that, it won't disarm the system. It'll just go on to battery power and keep protecting the system and keep protecting the boat. And yeah, you can't easily jam this system. You can't easily shut this system off and then break in. I'm not sure if anybody, given a selection of boats to steal, would steal Brick House, but if they ever did, the boat's automatically protected. I will see it on my smartphone where it is, and I can give access to local police, to state police, to country police, to customs, immigration, anyone I want. They can see exactly where that boat is going and where it's headed and how fast it's going and where the boat is. Nobody's going to steal Brick House, but if they do, they won't get very far. If we're sleeping on the boat and we just think we're sleeping in a dangerous area, or we know we're sleeping in a dangerous area, we can arm the whole boat except for inside. So that if somebody boards the boat and we're inside, locked inside, we know that somebody's out there. It's nice to be able to sleep inside the boat, not set off the alarm yourself, and have it protected on the outside. Know right away if somebody gets on this boat. And my dinghy is also protected. If somebody either cuts the line to the dinghy or removes it off the back of the stern, or even removes it off the back of the dinghy if I have it rigged up that way that night, the alarms will go off. So the components that I chose to put on with my system, and it's a very basic system compared to what most boats might choose to have, but I have motion detectors. They're special infrared motion detectors that do not detect the motions of cats and dogs. I don't know exactly how that technology works, but it definitely works. You know, we've had my cat walk right in front of it and it just doesn't set it off. You know, most of the security system people that I consulted with said don't put a motion detector outside. The sun coming up, or the laundry flapping, or the rocking and rolling of the boat combined with the sun coming up, or the rocking and rolling of the boat combined with the laundry flapping, or a boat going by combined with their wake. Too many things can give you a false alarm with a motion detector outside. So our motion detectors are inside, and yeah, that's the better place to use motion detectors. And if you have, you know, cats or dogs, you do need to make sure that they have that built into them. And we have all the common magnet sensors that you would have in your house, as simple as the ones on your house, but these are wireless, or mostly wireless. Basically, a hatch opens and the alarm goes off. Also, I have some wide gap sensors. These allow the windows to be partially open so as to get some air during the night or some air while you're away from the boat. But if somebody gets on and opens that door or hatch the rest of the way, then the alarm goes off. I think that the coolest sensor that we have on the boat is a deck pressure sensor. This is a little device that is under the deck, all around the deck, and if somebody steps on the deck, it flexes the deck, and hence the alarm goes off. And pretty much no matter where they step, the alarm will go off, and that's pretty cool. The only disadvantage of that is if you leave the boat armed and one of your friends comes by and drops off some nice ripe tomatoes when you want them most and you're not around and the system is armed, guess what? They get a very unpleasant surprise when they put those in your cockpit. But I guess your friends get to know that you have a security system and they wait till you get home. One thing that has given us some problems in the beginning was that when we were tied up to a dock and the dock lines were getting, stretched to their limits quite a bit, and there was a little bit of, jerking back and forth, that was enough to pull the deck cleats up ever so slightly. You can't see it with your eyes, but pulls it up ever so slightly, and that constitutes vibration or flexing of the deck, and the alarms would go off. And then when you're at anchor, that doesn't happen. So there is a sensitivity wheel on the units, and you can adjust the sensitivity. So I have to remember when we're tied up to a dock and we decide to arm it versus when we're tied up at anchor or on a mooring. We have to set the sensitivity ever so slightly. And I have that all marked now so that I know exactly where to turn it. So it's literally a 2-second exercise to do it, but I have to remember to do it. So sometimes we get some false alarms in the beginning when I have forgotten to do that. So it has a very loud alarm. It's the same alarm, actually. We didn't change that out for the expense of it, that attracts anchorages 2 miles away and police 2 miles away. So very, very loud alarm, and also lights go off as well when the alarm goes off. So it draws a lot of attention to the boat when the alarms go off. The great thing about the GOST security system compared to a lot of other systems that I researched is that it uses almost no electricity. I mean, it's something like 0.2 amps or 0.2 amp hours per day to run this system. So until the system goes off and sounds those alarms and puts out all those messages, it's using almost no electricity. So that's not a concern at all for a cruising boat. And of course, you install everything in very hidden spots. One, so that aesthetically they aren't on your boat looking ugly, but also when you have less than well-known people on the boat, they can't see where everything is and where the system is, and to get back on your boat later. So everything is hidden. GOST has a little saying, it's never seen and always watching. That's about the extent of it. And what's nice too is it's all very expandable. I mean, GOST Security Systems has so many add-ons, so many bells and whistles that can be added onto this system. I can't begin to tell you, from all kinds of fancy video cameras to still cameras that can be installed anywhere, that are motion activated, that tie right into the system. There's also a system where they can be gassed out the minute that they break in. All of this noxious gas gets put out. It doesn't stain furniture, it's not wet, it's not harmful to the boat inside, but it makes it so you cannot see 6 inches in front of your face. So go ahead and try to steal my chart plotter. You better know exactly where it is and exactly where the screws are, and really be able to breathe in a lot of smoke. Heck, it could even be pepper spray, and then they definitely won't even want to try to stick around to wait for the smoke to clear. They also have this system where it's like supersonic noise that is just so loud that it will make you nauseous, will make anybody run for cover. Just super excruciatingly loud that human ear just cannot tolerate at all. And of course, laser beams, that if that laser beam gets broken, the alarm goes off. They have so many things, I can't even begin to list them all, but it's a totally expandable system. You can add something like 64 different triggers. So, if I found that something's not covered by this system, I can add more. I can add so much more. I mean, this is really the Cadillac of security systems. And you don't have to have the Cadillac of security systems. Just a security system is what's important in these day and age. You have one on your house, put one on your boat.